Okay, verify. You know, when they say work on the more complicated side first, you know, sometimes that's a matter of judgment, which is more complicated. But I'll tell you that this is one where they expect us to work on the right-hand side first, that they would have thought. That you may play around with the left-hand side and actually be successful, right? There's more than one way to make these things work. And believe me, when I'm grading your test and you're doing this stuff, some of you will take very circuitous routes to get to where you're going, but it'll all be right. You know, I mean, I'll look at every step, and if it's all done right and you get there, you get there. This one points out something, though, that this is a common strategy, right? When you see a denominator or a factor of 1 minus sign, you will almost always want to multiply that by 1 plus sign. And you can't do that unless you multiply the numerator by 1 plus sign 2. No. No, we don't have to multiply the other side because 1 plus sign over 1 plus sign is 1. So we can multiply by 1. It doesn't change any values, right? If I didn't do 1 over something divided by itself, then I would have to multiply the other side. Okay. This is kind of like, ought to kind of remind you of multiplying by conjugates. Okay. Now, let's simplify this. In the numerator now, we do distributive property. That's cosine x plus cosine x sine x. In the denominator, we get 1 minus sign times 1 plus sign is the factoring of a difference of squares. Right? When you factor x squared minus 4, it's x plus 2 times x minus 2. This is the factoring of 1 minus sine squared x. If you go back to the fundamental identities, right, we have this one. Again, whenever you see sine squareds and cosine squareds and you want to do a substitution, it's probably going to be this one right here. So sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1. Let me write it up here. Sine squared x plus cosine squared x equals 1. If I want to substitute for 1 minus sine squared, then let me subtract sine squared to the other side. And I can substitute cosine squared. So this is cosine x plus cosine x sine x divided by cosine squared x. Okay, now I'm going to go this way. Right, I can write that as 2 fractions. Right, I can write that as cosine x over cosine squared plus cosine x sine x over cosine squared. Right, and now you got cancellation. Right, this cosine x and over cosine squared x, cosine cancels with one of those. So that's 1 over cosine x. And here, this one of the cosines cancels with, that cosine cancels with one of those, and what's left is sine over cosine. Now, 1 over cosine is secant. Sine over cosine is tangent. So we verified. We made the right-hand side look like the left-hand side.